Okay. Setting up.
This is Monica Perez, joined today by Drew Treglia. I'm going to say Treglia because that would be how you pronounce it in Italian, correct?
And in Italian it'd be Treglia, but then you just sound. I sound like a pretentious asshole. Treglia is my name. It's my name. You did it right. Most people don't get that right. Good job.
Well, my sister speaks Italian, and she said every single letter is always pronounced, and also the second to last syllable is where the accent is. So
that's right. Yeah.
So, but no, I don't have the little sounds down. But you are the director and producer of Jones Plantation and a lot more. So I want you to tell people about you, but I have to say, I have been thinking about you all morning. I was listening to the news, reading the paper, and I don't know. I think today's the day. This will be in the past for people who are listening to this, but where the Trump administration, whoever, whatever Trump represents, seized an oil tanker off of Venezuela. And the press conference was straight out of your work, where they're just like, we are, I wrote it down. It was so funny. I got to find it. It said, let me see. It was something to the effect of, here it is. They use these tankers to export terrorism and death. These are,
oh my God.
We are protecting the homeland from threats organized and presented by international organized crime. And I'm just laughing because this idea that you were in constant danger, everything they do, everything they say they do, they are there to protect you. Mm-hmm. And I used to think it was about getting your buy-in from the principled position of self-defense, but after being, absorbing a lot of your work, I'm like, okay, this is just fear-mongering propaganda. I was thinking too hard about it.
What did you think? What's a buy-in? You just think they were making the first move, getting the first punch in a fight kind of thing?
Well, the thing about Venezuela is, so they're saying we're bombing drug boats over there because get this is the idea. Venezuela, one of the largest oil producing countries in the world, or oil possessing countries in the world, with a coastline, borders Colombia, the cocaine producing country that also has a coastline. But Venezuela Colombia is land, transporting it overland into Venezuela, stepping on it with fentanyl. So they're transporting now fentanyl out of Colombia instead of just the pure coke and cutting it on the other end. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because Venezuela has a big coastline, but Colombia has a coastline. So I don't believe any of that. The real story is Venezuela is a non-aligned oil producing country, and that will not be tolerated. No. So now they're attacking the oil tanker. I'm like, yes, because it's about oil. They're just pirates. The U.S. government's just stealing this oil tanker and telling us it's for our protection. By what twisted baloney could it possibly be our protection?
What percentage of people actually believe that now, do you think? Because I hear people say we were finished, nobody can catch on. I mean, the legal man's so black-pilled about he calls himself cyanide-pilled. But I think a lot more people, for what it's worth, I don't know if they will come with it, but I think a lot more people see right through it and know it's bullshit than we realize. There's a lot of normies out there, but I'm just saying
well, I think that the propaganda is highly siloed. So I listen to Fox News. I used to have a radio show on a conservative channel, and I had to listen to Fox because when people would call in on my show on Saturdays, that's the propaganda they'd be regurgitating. So that was the stuff I had to be ready for. So I listened to that. That's that propaganda. Who listens to that? My mom used to listen to that. But who listens to CNN? And then who listens to Tucker Carlson and who listens to Glenn Beck. So though every single little bit of propaganda is curated for those subgroups. And I think Cambridge Analytica does that. Like it can actually text you a specific message in the hotel where the conference is, as opposed to other places. And then like Google, I was reading something about the origins of Google in the NSA, and the goal is to so completely control your surroundings that your entire community, it's a silo of one, your entire community will be not real. And they will be curated, tailored to your specific vulnerabilities. So how many people believe that? Well, everybody who's listening to Fox News believes that. And if they don't believe it, they're not listening to Fox News. They're listening to CNN. And then they're thinking that it's Trump, like Trump's a real person, and that Newsom's going to do a better job. Like it's just really siloed, I think.
Do you think, why are they doing this? Obviously, there's the oil thing, although they apparently have really low quality oil, but they have a lot of oil. They don't like Israel. So that's obviously it can't be accepted. When you say non-aligned, that's basically what you're talking about, right? I mean, also not in the group. They're not in the big group, right?
Well, there's actually a specific designation. Syria was that too, where there's an organization of non-aligned countries.
Oh, like
and
Iran.
They weren't aligned with Russia or the US. Like it was a little pocket.
I see.
I bet I wouldn't be surprised if it's Montenegro, maybe. Like there was some battle recently, like voting battle for whether this, I think it was Montenegro, would get into the EU. And because they just didn't want to be one or the other, but you have to. And that was what was so helpful about the Cold War, is that, well, if you don't go with us, Russia will invade you. Or if we don't absorb that country, Russia will absorb that country.
Right.
And so they had to like create this kind of international terrorism to make people, I don't know what, justify all this.
Well, they did the Israel thing, and then that didn't help. But also, I think the regime just needs a win. They need a W.
You think I feel like it's just that now Trump's got, maybe just because of post-COVID made it very clear they can do whatever they want, or because Trump got the entire, like anyone who might have cared about the Constitution or any of that absorbed into his cult of personality, that they're just going for it because they can't. Look what happened in Syria. Like that was crazy. Obama tried to do that 14 years ago. They got that. And I think they're just like, nobody's going to stop me in Venezuela. Might as well do it now. We'll never get a chance. And once we do that, that's a big domino.
But the Israeli thing is in long trend, I think, a complete disaster. I don't even think Israel's going to be a place. And then obviously they took the L in the Ukraine, which is ridiculous. And I don't know. I know they're evil. I know they're stupid, and I can't believe people fall for this shit.
I didn't mean to dive into the whole farm, but it's just funny because the propaganda, the Barnum sentences, whatever you call them, Barnum statements. They're so once you've heard them all, and then it's almost like a Mad Lib where they're like, this is there was one of those. There was a leaked memo that said, insert scary environmental statement here. Remember that a long time ago? There was a statement like coming out of the EPA or something that was talking. It was a press release about something they wanted to talk about, and they had a placeholder for scaremongering and literally said that. Yeah, it was crazy. So but they have like a checklist of these expressions.
Well, but they'll say them. I mean, so people don't know. Barnum statement is a statement. It sounds like it means something really profound and it gets people emotionally charged. But in fact, it means absolutely nothing because it means something different to everyone who hears it. And so the best one of the best ones, I mean, there's a bunch of them, but Make America Great Again is a great Barnum statement. Because what does it mean? It's unprovable. It's undisprovable. You can just say it and people go, and then you put 20 people in a room and say, hey, give me 3 sentences. What does Make America Great Again mean to you? And it's something different to everyone. So it's like this tool they use to get people to keep paying attention and to dupe people. It's one of the tricks and tools they use to keep people enslaved.
Yeah.
Where do you stand politically? I'm curious. Are you like a Republican? Or you're a libertarian?
I was raised at the knee of my father was a real, like, I would call him a classical liberal. He was a classical liberal. And
Okay.
I, through the influence of his brother, who was a priest and turned me on to Murray Rothbard, I got completely in the Hoppe camp of anarcho-capitalism. And he really won me over when he was like, this. So if we can get anarcho-capitalism, let's take it. If not, I'll take, monarchy would be the next bet. Because I'd already thought that. I was like, at least they're on your side. So I would then go there. I morphed into a philosophical agorist. Like I would like to just, I believe like the free exchange would be great. But now I'm a little, I'm not totally black, I'm not cynical pilled or cyanide pilled, but I realize now that, we don't live in a libertarian society. No. So we're being attacked, like even Rothbard said, immigration is a weapon. And like, so from a practical point of view, I'm not going to call for open borders just because I believe in the right to work and travel, because our government's totally treasonous. We need to defend ourselves. So I don't know. I don't think I fit into anything right now. I'm just trying to reconcile my firm principles as a, non-interventionist, voluntarist, don't touch me or my stuff, with the fact that everything from our religions to our government has been totally hijacked and exploited and deceptive and all of this.
Well, it's funny you bring up the immigration thing, and for some reason, libertarians, I don't know if it's a thing where it's like a religion to them, or they just can't walk and chew gum at the same time, but they cannot understand the difference between immigration, which is like somebody that's like, I got to get out of here. I'm going to take my family. I'm going to wing it and see what I can do. And mass migration, which is a funded, organized attack on the local population, always has been. And I don't understand why they can't figure this out. And it's like, I'm from Pittsburgh originally, and there's a town there, Charleroi, I think it was Charleroi, but it's like a town like 7,000 people or something. Tough little town. People owned their houses for generations, a wrestling town. They dumped 3,500 Haitians off there. It's like, what the hell?
Why are there Somalis in Minneapolis? There should be Swedes in Minneapolis. There should be people who like the cold.
Or if there's a Somali guy that's smart and has got his shit together and he wants to live in Minneapolis, he'll take his family there or whatever himself. But to dump 3,500 Haitians in Charleroi, you just wreck the entire culture. That's an attack on the local population. That's what that is.
And it's off the books, more or less, because this human rights industry that's funded by federal dollars. And I would have thought, or used to think, that it would have the same kind of scrutiny and accountability and transparency as if it were the government, but it's not. They're like mercenaries. They're contractors, subcontractors, and they get the money, and there is way less scrutiny by us. And I've heard of billboards in other countries. Like somebody I know from Cape Verde Island said there's like billboards that say, go to Brockton, Massachusetts. And then the human rights company that gets federal dollars, they have to move people in order to get their money.
Right.
So there's really perverse incentives there, but that is why you get entire clusters of people.
Right.
They set it up so people will go. I mean, and so that, what's your ideology? Because for me, I don't know what to do with that. That's just, I got to defend it on one point of view. If I had absolute private property rights and didn't have to have a post road or anything like that, if I could have a school and have my own association, say, you know what, I don't want a lot of Somali immigrants in my, like this private school that I established. If I were allowed to do that, then I would not really have a position on being able to defend the borders, but they've taken those rights away and put them on the borders. You know what I mean? So I have to now go to the borders and say, well, if I'm not allowed to have the right of association locally, no, I have to defend the space where you've removed that right too. But I mean, I don't care. I'm not like super worried about Somali immigrants. I'm just saying, like, theoretically, it can be used against you, and you should be able to defend yourself.
I don't necessarily want to live around a bunch of Somali immigrants. I'm not Somalian, and I don't have anything in common. There could be a Somali neighborhood, but I don't want to have a place where I live that I love, and then a bunch of Somali immigrants are dumped in me. That's not acceptable to me. I don't, that's my call. We don't have the right of association. And the other thing is that technically it's all bullshit, but they've taken our tax dollars and bought this federal land, and we're all supposed to own it. But then they just take that federal land and just use it to abuse and attack the local population. It's just end of empire shit where they've gone around the world and screwed everything up, and now they're just coming after the people inside their homeland. And
so did you, because I want to know a little bit about your journey, so to speak. Like, did you have a strong political opinion before? I want to know both, like, politically and with the filmmaking, both of those paths.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you were, united, maybe it was you were on a mission, or maybe you wanted to do film and then
the film came first.
Yeah.
So you lived in Atlanta for a long time, Charlie told me, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when were you had a radio show?
Yeah, I had a radio show from 2011 to 2020.
Oh, 2011. Okay, so 2011, 2020. I think I just moved at like 2 years later. Where was this? What station?
It was WSB, and it was on Saturday afternoons. So
where was the radio station?
The radio station was on, I'm going to say it was on Peachtree.
Okay.
It was near the Invesco building. It was like right underneath the Invesco building.
Well, there was a reason why I asked. I used to own a parking business in Atlanta. It's still there, but I sold it. And my first account was the Maggiano's on Peachtree in the 400. Over in Buckhead.
Yeah. And I lived in Buckhead.
Okay, we must have
crossed paths. We probably sitting in Maggiano's together.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't eat at Maggiano's. I just had the valet company. But
I liked it. Yeah, I liked Atlanta.
I did too. I liked it. I went back. I had a shoot like in Southern Georgia a couple of years ago, and we went, and I love the South. I love the South, but we went to Atlanta that night, and and it was just like, oof, I'm glad I'm not here anymore. It's gotten like 20% more crowded. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but it's not quality people. It was like a lot more homeless. It was a lot more crowded.
The film credits, because when I first moved there, I was like, if this place goes, people were worried about elections. I'm like, this place is never going purple or blue. No. And during the time I was there, it went blue. And I remember people calling in saying, you guys worry about immigration. You should worry about, interstate immigration. It's the Californians that are ruining it, and they did bring their terrible voting. And I thought that about COVID. I was like, they're locking down LA, they're closing the gyms, they're pushing, they have millions and millions of Democrats to spare, and they're pushing them into these freer places because they can't tolerate it. And you send another million blues to a small city and it makes a difference. But not that I care about that stuff. I mean, the only reason it matters whether it's Republican or Democrat is how fast they can move on which pieces of the puzzle.
There's one thing, it's the government, which is just an extortion and control racket. And the red blue thing is just what it is. It's just a scam. The Reds there to drive people that want the right things into a ditch and keep them occupied with this fake thing, when the idea it's always moving in one direction. We've been voting for 250 years, and do we have less freedom? Do we have less taxes? Do we have less surveillance? I mean, I always tell you about the Reagan Revolution, and Reagan was so pro freedom and blah blah blah. Okay, so since Reagan, are we freer? Do we have less?
That's taxes? What I said the day Trump got elected. I said, I'm just here to tell you that 4 years from now, for whatever reason, for whatever excuse, you are not going to have anything that you think you are going to get. You're not going to be better off in any of the ways. There's not going to be indictments. It's not going to be the swamp. It's not going to be cleared. I don't know what's going to happen, but something's going to happen. It's not going to work out. I could probably find the show where I said that, because that's the truth.
You're right. I mean, it was pretty obvious. I mean, I understand when you think there's two choices and you believe in the system. I understand why you wouldn't vote for Kamala Harris and that dipshit she was running with the mini teeth. That guy's such a creep, and she's such an idiot. I get it.
Now. He's in trouble now because of the Somalis.
Is he?
Wasn't
We'll
that
see.
him? Wasn't it Tim Waltz? Wasn't it the
They
guy?
took money or something, and they're doing.
I mean,
getting in
not in
trouble.
trouble, but I just mean he wasn't like Mr. Nice Guy. You know, he was.
Oh, of course not. He's a
yeah.
complete degenerate scumbag, probably a secret homosexual of some sort. I mean, the guy is really.
maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. You asked me something about.
Yeah, so I was asking about your journey, and you were saying that you had a parking business in Atlanta.
Yeah,
I had a not parking that long business. Ago.
No, and well, yeah, I mean, something like that. I sold it in 2006, I think, or something. I don't remember, but it's still there. It's called it was Eastwood Auto Management. Now it's Eagle Parking. I think they've expanded. But anyways, I had the business, and then I had done a little bit of acting when I was young, and I never liked the acting lifestyle. First of all, I didn't want to do everything. Like if you want to be an actor, you have to just do whatever you can get your hands on. I didn't like that. And I also didn't like just a lifestyle where you drive to wherever and go to an audition you're probably not going to get. Like I don't like that lifestyle. It's too out of my control. And I was writing a script, and then I was talking to one of the valets who was in film school, and I was describing to him how I wanted the scenes to be shot. And he's like, dude, you're a director. You should direct. And I believed him like a dumbass.
Yeah, he's right.
So I ended up going to, like, at the time, it was still like a thing to go to school. And plus I was in my early 30s at the time. So I went back to graduate school at Georgia State, actually. And at that time I had this belief that I'll get a master in fine arts. And if it doesn't work out, I'll be a teacher. That's a terrible way to think. For any young person out there, don't think like that.
Can't do teach.
Well, it's also just like in general, when you have a goal, just what's the saying? Burn the boats. Like just.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
You just do the thing you're going to do.
Yeah. Agreed. That's a good.
Don't have a backup plan. That's always a terrible idea. Just go with it.
Yeah.
But it's going to be what it's going to be, and don't be afraid to fail. And I just had this so I went to school, and then I sold the business, and I worked in Atlanta for a long time. I worked in Atlanta at the PBS there on 14th Street. Did a bunch of shows for them, and then moved to LA. I don't know, long story short, I made Jones Plantation. But the anarchy, I guess, kind of like, I think anarchy or voluntarism is like morally and logically the best. Yeah. But feelings don't care about your facts, man. It doesn't really matter because we're living in a society that I think it's, unless it's a very small group of people you can get together. I know I'm very good friends with a lot of anarchists, a lot of big anarchists, and they really think that all we need is 10%, man. Just like everything is 10% of the population. I'm like, you're kind of talking about elite theory. Right. And if you need to have a bottom up society, which would be great. You need a massive majority of like a 75 to 80% of the people to understand it, to be able to live that way, to want that. Most people don't even want that.
Like, I think if I had to pick the Articles of Confederation or the Constitution, I would pick the Articles of Confederation, which probably would have been fine. But I've noticed this about the French Revolution, the Russian Revolution, and the American Revolution. In 10 years, the people who were probably behind the popular uprising swap and then take control. Like, your revolution lasts 10 years and then it's just a different gang in charge. But if you could, if the Constitution had been respected and the Bill of Rights, and you did not have like the techno state that's coming, that's making basically resistance is going to be more or less impossible in the short term. I think it'll collapse under its own weight eventually, but all of that apparatus and these super big companies and everything, we wouldn't have it at all if it weren't for the corporate governmental interaction that through regulatory barriers to entry, and especially towards subsidized research and picking winners and, advancing technology through war and all of that. And this super complex society that we all are cogs in just would not exist without the government forcing the money into the control structure, which is, I think, masterminded by the hierarchy or promoted by the hierarchy. But otherwise you wouldn't even need like anarcho-capitalism necessarily, and we would be kind of free, but it's not a thought experiment. It just would be, but we have what we have. So why? Probably because
Well,
that's the way it is.
you'd need a massive upgrade of consciousness. Like, and they always point to slavery, chattel slavery. And I'm like, there's a film I did called Jones Plantation. You should watch that, because the whole point of the film is that they went from the chains and the whips to mind control and psychological programming and brainwashing to control the people, which is so easy to do and so much more sustainable.
Now, how much of, because I saw elements of Rene Girard, the allegory of the cave. Like I thought I saw elements of that in there. And I don't know if it was Larkin Rose's original work or, and I always wonder this about filmmaking, and maybe you can help me. I see this stuff and I think, like, do you think that was intentional? And I always think, nah. But then you'll read like an interview with the director, like, yeah, totally intentional. It was all intentional. That gun on the wall, we were planning to use it. Like it was all intentional.
It depends on the director. It depends on the circumstance. You know what I mean? Definitely in Jones Plantation, there's Where's Waldo's all over the place. Now, Larkin did the original story, was a
Easter
short.
eggs,
Yeah, Easter eggs. Yeah, basically. And then he did the original like 12-minute animation.
Yeah.
That's how the whole thing was born. And then he wrote the first draft, and then we passed it back and forth because he's never written a script before. And then when we got on set and you get warm bodies there and you're in an analog situation, then it becomes a whole different ballgame. And at that point, for a multitude of reasons, which I'm not going to go into too much here, someday we're going to tell that story. But we had to, like, we were writing on the fly, and then it was pretty much me and Legal Man taking like an 8-page scene and cutting it down to 1 page. And just
how
making
did
sure we
you
got
meet him, Legal Man? Like, what connected you and Larkin Rose and Legal Man?
Well, the 2020 horse shit, the workout. I'm still, it's funny because Jimmy Dore just came out with a tweet. He's finally come around. He's like, they did this whole tweet about the whole thing was a fake and that 90% of the tests were fake. And I always knew from 30,000 feet that they were using the test to run that thing on. We don't have to get into all that, but unless you want to, but I was listening to, it used to be Free Man Beyond the Wall. And then he transitioned to the Pete Quinones show.
Yep. I know Pete.
And at the time when it first started, I was arguing with people, and I wasn't really doing anything online because I was planning the Jones Plantation, and I had taken a break from filmmaking, and then the Jones Plantation thing started happening, and I was very busy, but I was wasting time arguing for about a month, arguing with people on Facebook, and I was just losing my mind. It took me a month to realize what was going on. Like, there's no reaching these people. If I want to do something, I've got to punt over them because this is pointless, and they're out of their mind. They've lost their minds. And then I started realizing, how that question, how did Bolsheviks happen? How did Nazi Germany happen? And you're like, okay, I see this now. I get how this happened. And, but I would listen to shows, and Pete's show was one of them that I was like, okay, I'm not completely nuts. There are some people out there. And he had Legal Man on. I'm interviewing Pete next week, actually, for my show. And, so I went to Legal Man. He had this like rant podcast. He was just ranting about the insanity.
Yeah. He's been on my show a couple of times. Yeah. Back in the day.
I've listened to him on your show. Yeah. The propaganda report.
Yes. Yep. And
do you still do that?
No, I just do the Monica Perez show. I just couldn't keep up. It was like 6 days a week, and I just couldn't do it. Amazingly, it was because I didn't realize that the reason I could do it was because of lockdown. And then I had to run around after my kids. I was like, I can't do this 6 days a week.
Yeah, you're right. Well, that Brad, your old, he was your partner. We do this goofy live stream for MMA.
Yeah.
And he just started coming on. He's pretty funny. I never met him before. I just met him like the last. Yeah. So I was listening to those guys, and then I listened to his rants, and then we shot that film that film. I went to Anarchapulco in Mexico, and I met Larkin there. I was interviewing people for some other project I was going to do, and we just had a conversation, and I've told the story a lot, but I haven't
heard it.
Okay, good. I'll tell you. So anyways, I don't want to bore people that have heard it, but I guess nobody's heard it maybe on your show. I haven't talked to that many. But anyway, so, in the interview, I said, well, I was going to do this thing called Democracy Down, and I was going to interview people from all political spectrums. And this was, I think, February of 2020. So like literally, and I got back like the next week when they did the lockdowns or something very similar. So if it happened a week earlier, none of this would have happened. And in the interview, I was like, democracy is interesting because before you had the chains and the whips, and you could see there's the guy whipping me. He's the problem. With democracy, it's all nobody's responsible. Everybody's point. It's like that Spider-Man meme where they're all pointing a finger at each other, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, you know, it's mind control and brainwashing. He goes, it's funny. I've got a little animation called The Jones Plantation. You should check out. And then we watched it. The guy who was the assistant director in the film, Doug Mize, was with me in Mexico. He trudged his way down there and helped me shoot. And I was like, man, we should make this into like a short film, like with, a narrative. And he's like, why don't we just do a feature? So then I got back to the States, and Larkin lives in Arizona. I live in Arizona.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I hadn't lived there. And I just messaged him and was like, let's do an Indiegogo and make this thing into a feature film. He's like, okay. I don't even remember what your original question was, but
I was just wondering how you connected with Legal Man and
okay. So right. So then
Rose, like I left off and like
well, the lockdowns we did that during the craziness of COVID, right?
Right.
And so I was trying to staff that and cast it. And the thing with filmmaking is if you don't have at least, adequate actors, you're screwed. Like if you don't have performances,
your actors were good. Yeah. Cause that does sync stuff that
it's over. It's lights out. If you don't have performance, it's over. That's why, like when I'm directing, I don't like people talking to the actors. I don't like, if they're in a scene, I don't want them bringing them, cups in the scene. Like it's like we don't have a performance. It's over. So you can't break their concentration. But anyways, and I couldn't. So we tried to cast it, and then I was going to do a SAG ultra low budget so I could get SAG actors, which we did anyway. But I talked to the SAG guy in Atlanta because I was going to shoot in the South. And he was actually a guy who was in one of my films. He's a good guy, but he's like a big SAG guy now. And he's like, yeah, you got your COVID protocols together, right? And I'm like, what?
Oh my gosh. Oh my.
Yeah. So they created a whole industry for these like COVID commissars that come on set. So it was all set up to screw indie filmmakers because the way they did it is if you test positive, and of course that test is not a test, and it's the way they were running like 40 cycles. It was designed to find anything they're looking for. That's what. Yeah. So
conveniently, Carrie Mullis died in August of 2019.
Yeah, and his wife, of course, was pretty sure they killed him, and he hated Fauci. Did you ever see that video of Fauci?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know all about that. But
yeah, and it wasn't a test. He said it was like what Buddha said: you can find the universe inside of you if you run as many cycles. You'll find anything you're looking for.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So Fauci's been using that test all over the place to get a bunch of funds. To there's a bird flu or whatever the hell's going on here. Well, look, we found it with this test. So so he said you have to have a commissar. Everybody's got to wear a mask. So immediately I'm going, okay, we're not doing this because I'm not directing with a freaking mask on. That's not happening. And then if somebody tests positive, they have to leave set for 14 days or something crazy. So
how can you even start on a project like that?
It's impossible. The only people who can do that are studios because, as you know, you live in LA.
Huge budget. Everybody lives there. They get paid anyway.
And they've got a staff of 10 deep in every position, and they can't. If it's an actor, they just throw them up in the Beverly. Here you go, enjoy yourself. See you in a couple of weeks. We'll take a break.
Yeah. We'll do the other scenes or whatever.
There's no chance. So I can't do that. So I had to start thinking outside the box. And that's long story short. Just one day, I'm like, wait a minute, freaking Legal Man will play Mr. Jones. He's like, he's an actor. He's a lawyer. Right? I know he can act. He's intelligent, and he knows the character. He'll know the character. So he's the only actor I met before we shot. Yeah. I actually went to Dallas.
He ended up being quite photogenic.
I think he's, I don't like talking my actors up, but I think I love him as an actor. I think he's good.
Yeah, he's super handsome. So
is he?
Yeah. I mean, that's lucky. Who would expect a podcaster who doesn't show his face to be handsome behind the scenes?
That's good. I had no idea what he looked like either. It's funny. I'd never seen him.
No, I had never seen him. I only saw him on the movie.
Yeah, and then he's real clean cut. I'm like, you just don't have the look. He's like, don't worry, I'll fix it.
Did he grow that himself?
Yeah, and the poor guy, because we kept having to push the production back, and he's like, he had this freaking beard that was driving him bananas.
Oh my god!
He had to keep it for like months and months beyond when we could actually.
That's so funny. I was, I don't want to. I thought the movie was excellent, and I was surprised as there were moments of shock and as it went along. So I don't want to. Even that's, in my opinion, even saying what I just said is too much of a spoiler. Like, oh, it's good. It's got surprises. But I have to ask, what your actors, I can't believe they weren't SAG actors. Like a lot of those guys were good. And I'm just wondering, what did they think about, are actors allowed to think about the movie and the scripts, or they're like, what the hell is this? Or what? I mean, I can't, yeah, I mean.
Well, a lot of them were SAG. They just said, screw it, we're going to work.
Good, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's interesting the way that I had to do it, because I never met any of them until we were on set. So there was always this, I wrote this, me and the legal man, because he's a lawyer. So we penned this letter for everyone and it said, basically, long story short, we're making a film about human flourishing and freedom. We're not going to do testing. We're not going to require masks. We just can't do that. Okay. But you just never know who's going to show up. Some COVID lunatic, you know what I mean? Or somebody gets tested on their own and then gets the flu and then it goes out. I don't care about my actor. Who knows what they're going to do? So, but we got really lucky with that. Once the day 1 or 2, the first day, this one actor showed up with a mask and the visor thing. And I'm like, oh shit. Oh, yeah. But after like a couple of days, everybody just didn't care anymore. Now, as far as like them figuring out, I think I had to have conversations on the phone with all of them and just give them, some of them was an hour, some of them was 5 minutes, and just explain to them what the plan was. As long as they understood the plan, then they could come there and bring what they were going to bring to the table. And
but what about the content? I mean, the content, like, I think it's not a spoiler to say it's a metaphor, but because it's a metaphor for something terrible. It was, I just wonder, like, I heard you say on one show, I got a comment that said, and you were proud of this comment, and I would be too, I hated this movie so much, like I can't sleep at night or whatever. Like, and I'm thinking, wow, because that's what they said in radio. They said a third of the people are listening to you, waiting for the weather report. A third of them are listening because they love you, and a third of them are listening because they hate you. So it's totally fine to be hated, but I can understand how this would press some buttons. Like, I don't think I think my husband would have like dipped after 5 seconds. He would have been like, what? Where are you going with this? Like,
really? That's interesting.
Only because, for a normie, he's a normie. He's such a normie, he doesn't even know what that means. I have a son who has Down syndrome, and I was like, oh, don't worry about my husband, he's a normie. He's like, what does that mean? Like, I don't have Down syndrome?
Kinda. Just kidding.
Don't worry about it. I mean, maybe it means that you do. Like, I don't know. Yeah. But so he would just be like, this looks offensive to me. Like this, I'm not saying if he understood it, he would be offended by the message or the allegory or anything. But in the first 5 seconds, when you start to watch it, you don't think so? You don't think it has some?
Oh, no, for sure. But the thing is, so that's the reason why, and look, there's no spoiler. The film is an allegory and a satire of the current control system, enslavement system we live under.
Exactly.
Through the Annabelle slave plantation.
Right. Exactly.
But you pretty much know pretty quickly that, because that was the idea, is like, okay, we're going to watch a slave movie, which by the way was a challenge too, because there's a lot of fatigue with slave movies. Like a lot of Black people that I know from Atlanta, friends of mine, and I like, I'm sick of watching slave movies. I'm like, no, this is not your grandfather's slave movie. You should check it out.
the PC police is going to make it so you can't even depict that accurately. Like Roots could probably not be made, today.
That's true. Yeah.
But I in the movie, I was thinking about, made me think of this isn't a spoiler because it's separate, but it made me think about, where would you go? Like, what would freedom look like? How? So the freedom was an illusion, but what if it weren't an illusion? What would the freedom look like? And where would they go? Where, you know what I mean? Like the metaphor, I get it, but I want a metaphor for actual freedom, because I don't think we experience it. I don't think we have it or know it.
Can't have it with the state of consciousness of the people. That's what I say all the time. You can't, it's got to be an elevation of now, like I said, the chains and the whips were different, but there was an elevation of consciousness from chattel slavery. We did, as a human race, have that elevation of consciousness, and there's only very few places that is occurring. Of course, it's in sub-Saharan Africa, which is ironic, but there would have to be, dude, it's so funny you bring this up, because I've been thinking about this a lot lately. there has to be a program. It's probably totally ridiculous, and it's such an embryonic idea at this point. People are going to laugh at me, but there would have to be a program that people could get into that would elevate them, like kind of like the 12 steps, but like there's the 12 steps and there's the 12. They have the 12 steps, and then they have the 12. It's like there's 12 steps to help you get off alcohol, and then there's 12 steps to help you protect AA. Right.
Oh, I didn't know there was another 12 steps.
Well, it's a 12. It's not. It's like 12 rules. It's one's to protect the alcoholic from alcohol, and the other one's to protect Alcoholics Anonymous from alcoholics. Wow. And it's like there's no politics, there's no religion, there's no judgment.
Wow. Yeah. You're not supposed to sleep with each other, although they always do.
Yeah. Well, that's not even that. It's just like you can't. There was a group that rose up apparently that got into politics and they were just wrecked. It's like none of that. And it's a voluntary society. They don't realize that, and it's impenetrable. Like if somebody went to an AA meeting and was like, we're going to tax, and if you don't, he's going to put you in prison. I'm just being goofy with a kind of an idea. They would be like, oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting idea. You should try that. Good luck with that. We're not doing that here.
We don't talk. Wow. That's so interesting.
So if there was some sort of program, but then how do you get them in? And then they're going to kookify it. And because the thing about the 10% thing is that the elite theory thing that they think is going to happen with anarchy, all those people that 70%, they're going to be your enemies. They're going to, the other 10%.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the Plato thing. I've read the allegory of the cave. Everybody's read it more than once, but it took forever for me to realize, like, they killed the guy at the end.
Right. Well, Tom Woods is the one. Tom Woods, when Art Larkin was on Tom Woods, and he's like, your Jones plantation reminds me of the allegory of the cave.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Because
they don't want to hear it. They go after you. Like I said, 90% of the stuff is love. But like I've said, there was a website where there was like, this person said this film should be seen by the whole world, blah, blah, blah. And then right below was this, I hated this film so bad it made me physically ill. I get those hateful people are loud. I just had an email yesterday or last night. The guy wrote me telling me how the film should have been and what more I should be doing. And I'm like, who the fuck are you? Have you ever made a film? Why are you writing me and telling me this? Like, and then I try to like have empathy and say, okay, what is this guy going through that he took the time to write me of all people? I'm like the only filmmaker that's really on the side of the people. And you're writing me and telling me what films do you have? I made this for 300. I made this for a budget of a regular of a
maybe he was a troll that just is there to waste time.
Could be.
I used to get crazy long emails and I realized it was just people trying to suck up my time.
Yeah, you just ignore them, right?
Well, now I do, but at the time, this was when this was 10 years ago when social media and stuff for me anyway was just new. And I didn't realize that I could get a DM as long as your arm. And I would fucking go through and answer every issue. And I'd be up till 2 a.m. with this one jerk. And I was like, wait a second.
Yeah. Right. And it affects you when you read it. Like if you see it.
It did. It doesn't anymore, but it really did.
Yeah. It bothers you. It can bother you. Like I read that guy's email and I was annoyed at the fact that somebody would write me to tell me these things.
Yeah.
I was like, why are you, but
yeah.
Then you got to think about their life. No.
That's the one thing you can't.
Yeah.
So what is your, let me see. I did want to ask you a couple more things about that. I think my computer is malfunctioning. Here you go. There was a lot. I heard you say that the original script or whatever screenplay was super long. You just had to cut a lot out. But there were, I admired that you kept the focus narrow enough to actually convey the message. There were more things to say. I mean, you did not bring in the role of taxation as, taxation is such a fantastic method of slavery where they get you to the progressive taxation, everything. They get you to work. So people who are in the top tax rate is such a small percentage of the taxation that gets paid to the federal government. It's like a rounding error. It's like maybe 10%. but maybe that's not a rounding error, but I think it's $0.4 trillion is raised by people in the top tax percent. Like, so Warren Buffett is not in the top tax rate. It's only income earners, only like the professionals, people who might actually be able to pull a Ron Paul at some point. So it doesn't really contribute that much to the coffers, but it does keep people from having any surplus. But the whole progressive taxation to me is better than slavery for the slaveholders, because what they do is they get you, just like you were demonstrating, they get you to work as hard as you possibly can, and then they take as much as you will tolerate. It's a perfect, like it's the maximum. They can maximize it. And I found that in so when I was watching the Jones Plantation, I had a sense of the entire capitalist system, which I consider the corpo-governmental continuum, functions that way. The consumption thing, like, were you going for that deeper thought of like the consumerism being a motivating factor in how you get people to buy in?
Well, what's the whole taxation thing based on? It's based on, we introduced a currency in the film.
Right.
He says,
yeah, and I was like, oh, they can just print more of those. I was like, oh yeah.
And then he says we can loan you.
Yeah.
We can loan you these at, at an interest rate, of course.
Yeah, that was good. That's true. Yeah, that's right. That was a good way to do it too, because people.
I mean, the film's almost 2 hours long, and it's just gets to the point where like you can't. Everybody wants their little thing in there. You know what I mean? It's just
it was great though. No, that's what I really admired about it. Like, if you had gotten at all more complicated, the message would have been lost. But you're right. Like, you really did hit all of those points. It was very, very well done. Yeah.
And a lot of people like you and stuff, you're watching going, I know all this. And I get that. It's a really good entry point.
But it was entertaining. No,
that's the most important thing for me. That's the most important thing, is the engaging and entertaining thing.
Absolutely.
People always think about the message. I'm like, it sounds so boring and pedantic. I just want to make really interesting, entertaining films, and the things that I value are going to come through the narrative.
It was good. It had plot, it had twists, the acting was good. Even though it was on a low budget, at no point was it distracting. Like, you could just tell, like, it was more, as far as like scenery and stuff, it was more like you would expect from a play, not super complicated.
Right.
But it conveyed the message. I just thought you made a lot of really good decisions. Was that you? Did you make you made all the decisions probably, because who else?
Yeah, once we get on set, yes, it's my decisions. Yeah. Also my head. It's filmmaking is a director's medium. Everybody else is. It's a collaboration for sure. You can't. That was something that took me a long time to learn, because I had a different personality when I first started. I had a big ego, and I was a bit of a normie, right winger kind of guy, sort of.
Yeah.
Just kind of a brainwashed, degenerate Gen X guy, And then, and so it took me a long time to transition into like, okay, I need to just let my ego go and just let, I used to get so mad about credits on projects, and I get these fights with the producers. I'm like, what am I doing? Who gives a shit? So I would just, but at the end of the day, it's filmmaking is a directing medium. Nobody watches a film and is like, oh man, who edited that piece of crap? They're like, who made that?
Yeah.
So all those decisions, and a lot of them were inspired just by the fact that our budget was the size of a craft services budget on most films, which is the food. Like, literally, like, that's not an exaggeration. And so
somebody gave me $500 once to put food in my driveway for like 2 hours for the actors to eat for the thing next door. It's like $500 to use my driveway. I hate the film industry encroaching on my property.
Yeah.
There might even have been more than that, but like, their budget's ridiculous. And yes, you were absolutely on a shoestring, which you have to make the right decisions. And that's what made it good. Because I've seen indie films or stuff like that, where it's like, you know what, it just fell short, but yours didn't. Like, and I attribute that to the right decisions on every step of the way. I thought it was very impressive.
Thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate it.
I really liked it. And but I wanted to know what your next project. Can you talk about your next project?
Yeah, it's Charlie's mildly involved with it right now. We're not at the point where I can like really bring him in, but he's involved. It's called Crazy Eddie, and it's I want to make this generation's Dirty Harry. but it's only going to
Yep.
be 3. My plan is only 3 films, part 1, part 2, part 3. It's like 1 film, but it's 3 parts, although they're each individual films. But the difference is Eddie was a cop, and he doesn't just like think the police force is corrupt. He realizes that having state police, they work for the state.
Yeah, is the problem.
So it becomes a vigilante, and his older brother is in like the bureaucracy of the police. So I want to shoot this thing in Oregon, Portland. So it's a lot. I don't know how much I want to bring it up here, but there's a whole, like, the mayor I'm modeling after the mayor of Chicago, that Beetlejuice lady. Remember her?
Oh my gosh. I just had saved a picture of her. I was going through my photos and I was like, I literally saved that picture because she was so crazy looking. I feel bad for her. I felt like a bitch that I saved the picture just because she was insane looking. Aww.
Well, she is insane. She's a horrible human being. And so there's,
it's like the picture of Dorian Gray, except for not the picture of Dorian. Like, you know, the picture of Dorian Gray, great movie. Watch that movie. I'm not going to spoil it.
Dorian Gray. Tell me, I don't know that one. I'll look it up.
Oh, just watch the black and white movie. You're going to love it.
Is it old?
Tight 90. Yeah.
How old is it?
43, maybe.
Oh,
maybe
really?
53. Maybe 53, but I think it's 43.
Okay.
Could be 53.
I'm a film buff, but I'm pretty weak on stuff.
On
like,
the oldies?
Yeah, because the technology throws me off. The either acting, that kind of stuff always throws me off.
Watch the picture of Dorian Gray.
Okay, I will.
And then anyway, so what about this Beetlejuice lady?
Oh, so then she's the mayor, and then there's the mayor, there's a Antifa group. And what's going on? Where they're just, these Soros DAs are letting off all these criminals on purpose, and then there's a pedophile ring, and there's a serial killer element in it, and so that's under the story. And so his brother feeds him these guys that got let off and committed these crimes, and he goes and gets vigilante justice on him. He quits the force, and that's the movie. And we're actually going to hopefully get financing. We're going to probably do an Indiegogo just because it's good to see if there's a market for it. And it's also good to just get the audience, get people involved, if they want to be. But we're going to actually.
What kind of person could go out of pocket like that? Like, it's $500,000. Like, is there anybody or more?
It's going to be more. No, it's going to be more than that. I mean, I'm hoping to get between, I think the cherry spot, the guy who wrote Taxi Driver, his name's Paul Schrader. He in his older life in his 70s had like another run where he was doing films, and I listened to a podcast with him, and he's like, listen, the cherry spot is $2 to $5 million because you can do whatever you want and they don't bother you. You can have final cut. So that's kind of what I'm looking for this one, like $2 to $5 million.
How could you possibly raise that? Like, that just sounds crazy.
It's murky, but yeah, the thing's going to explode though. Whoever invests in it's going to make a fortune.
All right. Well,
there's also there's a whole tax rebate regime thing.
Yeah, I was just thinking of it as it would have to be basically a political contribution. It's like, I'm going to take $5 million and give it to you because I believe in your ideology. But if it's actually going to be profitable, then I could see how you could get money for it.
I'm not saying it's going to be easy.
Right. No, but if it's actually could be, and I guess you would know how to distribute it. You've had the experience, and
that's murky too.
Visibility.
That's murky too, because I distributed Jones. I did it through my company. I had a distributor that wanted it, but I was like, I have known so many independent filmmakers that gave their film to the distributor, and then they're like, thanks, asshole. And they go make a bunch of money. And then I'm swearing, I hope that's okay in your show. I apologize.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're actually just using vulgarity. You're not swearing.
Okay, good. I hope that's okay.
Totally fine.
Okay. But getting a distributor is possible. That's a little bit of an area. What I'm going to do is just hire somebody who's distributed successful indie films before, instead of giving it to a distributor. I don't know yet. That's a murky area. That's a challenge of it. But one of the big things again is the tax rebate regime. And turns out Oregon, I didn't know this when I wanted to shoot in Portland the whole time. It turns out is one of the best places for tax rebates for indies.
Really?
Yeah. So what you do is you basically get this letter from their film commission or whatever.
Yeah.
And it says, hey, they'll do 25%. They'll just cut you a check. Okay. Once you turn your receipts in. And there's actually a few poor percent you can make depending on if you hire locals and stuff like that. But it's basically 25%. And then you get that letter, and then you go, and there's a whole industry of loan companies that will loan against that letter and take a cut. So you already have money in the door. And then there's also, for investors, there's tax. You got to find people that are wealthy enough they just want to write off their tax bill.
Yeah. No, I
another
understand
angle.
it now. Yeah. Okay.
A lot of the film business has nothing to do with making films and good films and money.
Yeah.
It's all tax shelter stuff.
No, that's
So
good.
you-
That's, of course, that makes sense. And I'm glad you explained it, because I just thought, like, it makes me wonder, like, how do some people get, is there an ulterior motive to somebody giving you money like that? Do they want to, in the end, control the content? Do you have to compromise if you're going to get that kind of money? But
That's
if there
scary
are
too.
other
that's scary
reasons,
too.
if you can find people who want to do it for other reasons, then that's good. Like somebody going to AA and
Yeah.
showing up on your set as a COVID lunatic. Like, you got to worry that it's not, you're going to be set up.
What's funny, because we were going to take one route, which is like a online channel. It's a big one. I won't mention them. Me and Charlie both know people over there, but I got worried because I'm like, wow, what if they? Because I think there's a lot of stories like this, but there's a guy named Jodorowsky who directed these really crazy films in the 70s. And he made one that was like, they used to do like Friday night films in New York or whatever. And people would go and watch these films. Everybody gets stoned and watch. He's got these crazy films. He
Like
did,
what? What's an example? Give me a name.
I'm trying to remember the name.
Oh,
It's,
sorry.
No. I should have.
If you tell me
It's
how to
called-
spell his name, I'll look it up.
Oh, J-O. He actually was gonna do Dune. He was on the books to maybe do Dune, but he never did. But if you see his other films, you're like, oh my God, this guy would have been interesting doing Dune. It's Jodorowsky. It's Jodorowski, and it's called. I want to know it before the computer gets it.
Okay, go for it.
Oh my God, there's two of them. There's two major ones he did.
All right, I got them.
What is it? Tell me it. I forget.
I have El Topo, the Holy
El Topo.
Mountain,
The Holy Mountain. Yes, El Topo and
Dune,
the Holy
Tusk, Santa Sangre, The Rainbow Thief, The Dance of Reality, and Endless Poetry.
The two that I know are El Topo and the Holy Mountain, but one of those, the producers just shelved it. Like it was, they were doing these like local screenings and it was just blowing up and it was and the producers for whatever reason just took it and shelved it. And nobody saw it for like years.
Can I see it now? It looks great.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's really, if you like that kind of stuff, it's really, really trippy and interesting.
I don't know yet.
Yeah. I'm trying to think which one would be either one of those. If you like that kind of film, I don't tell everybody about, I don't know your film.
I'm trying to learn about film. So I'm like completely just a math person. I can do spreadsheets, whatever. I read books because they're like entertaining. I watch movies because they're good. But my producer and Scott from the History Homos, they are like, do film reviews. So I do film reviews with them, but I'm literally like, a little baby, like eating the pie. I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about. Explain it to me. So I'm trying to expand my horizons and understand it a little better from a filmmaking perspective. I don't like to because it ruins the film. But so my policy is I'll watch it once just for the fun of it. And then I'll watch it again so that I can wreck it. But
let me make a suggestion. One good suggestion is that if you watch a film like that, is to watch, if they have one, a director's commentary or somebody that, like, sometimes they'll have critics commentary, and you kind of get an idea of the cultural implications and the timeline. How much, maybe you don't want to know that. I don't know your style.
I'll watch it first for my own, so when I read a book, I read the prologue at the end.
Okay.
Like I won't read the introduction. I mean, I'd read a prologue, but I wouldn't read an introduction until after, because I don't want this other person telling me what to think about this book I haven't read yet.
Right.
Then I'll go back and read it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And if I really missed it, then I can read the book again. Yeah. So I totally think that it's, I can, you have to just dedicate yourself to it. It doesn't just fall out of a tree. You have to like think about it, and that, that's fun.
Scott has pretty interesting takes. I've listened to a couple of those. He has some good takes. He had a good take on 28, the recent 28 Days Later, whatever, the one they just did. And I didn't even, I saw that and I didn't really even think of what he was talking about. But what films have you guys reviewed?
So, his review that I loved was Night of the Hunter. Completely changed my understanding of that movie. And then I went back and rewatched it. I picked the movies. So, So like my taste in the movies is getting better. So today we're doing It's a Wonderful Life, and Scott's going to complete. It's not just about fiat money. It's not just about fractional reserve banking. He said there's way more to it. I'm super happy about that. Casablanca, one of the greatest movies and the greatest propaganda film ever made. Pure propaganda. It's so good that I like the movie, even though it is pure propaganda. Very symbolic. We did that. Casino. I made them do Valley Girl.
Okay.
States. Yeah,
Altered States,
yeah. Altered States was good. I think we're gonna do Children of Men next. I'm making them do Picture of Dorian Gray. And we just did Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson, which was just a movie. Like it was just my idea of like, get the popcorn, watch this movie. That was that movie. And still we talked about, Minority Report, which I love. I'm like, that's the greatest movie of all time. By the end of it, I was like, okay, it was a good movie, but it wasn't the greatest movie of all time.
No.
Like, it was just a good movie that you could watch like many times and still like it. And so we've just had a variety of things and it's fun. But why? What do you recommend? The first one was The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
That's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's one of my. I mean, I just watched a thing behind the making of that. You look at Tuco; it's one of the best characters of all time. The little Jewish guy playing a Mexican bandito, he's amazing in that film.
That's what I said. So and Scott says definitely on purpose, because I was like, yeah, that was amazing how he did that. And then in the end, he's crazed for gold, and Scott's like, yeah, maybe that's why they had a Jewish guy play it. And so he's Jewish, so I let him say stuff like that. Yeah. But he thinks stuff like that is intentional, and I'm always like, come on, everything can't be intentional.
Are you familiar with the work of Jason Christoff?
I don't think so.
He does like a lot about mind control and propaganda. That's his thing. And
I don't usually watch nonfiction.
Well, no, fair enough. But I mean, we talked about this because I think that when you talk about these propaganda, like he talks about what they do in films, they always have the loser is always the good guy. And he talks about Titanic and how in that film is a perfect example where the girls in the upper class, rich people, and they're all just a bunch of unhappy assholes, right? And then she goes to the bottom of the boat where this loser drifter guy is, opens the door, and of course everybody's drinking and having the greatest time drinking alcohol. She gets grabbed, they're dancing around, and it's like it's always that story. That's a general theme in films where the loser is the great awesome guy with morals and values, and then the same thing happens with that TV show that's on Amazon with the big strong guy. What is it called? He's like a drifter. Not that one. It's another one with the guy. I can't remember anything right now. It's a very popular. Maybe is it Reacher? Maybe it's Reacher.
Jack Reacher. Yeah, Jack Reacher. Reacher. Yeah, Reacher.
Is it Reacher? He's like a blonde guy. He's real jacked. I can't remember the actor's name.
Oh no, The Witcher.
No, not him. Not him.
Okay.
Hold on. I gotta look. Hang on. I'm gonna have to know. But anyways, he's like this loser who drifts around, and he's like the coolest guy. And everywhere he goes into this town, and of course the rich people in town are complete scumbags, which may or may not be the case.
I have a theory about that, but what's Christoph's theory about it?
Well, it's a propaganda thing. He talks about his thing is coffee to propagandize the people into believing success is going to is a bad thing.
So I think there could be another element to it, which is this. If you look back at like the Russian Revolution and American stuff, like they take serfs, they take slaves, I read this somewhere. What they do is they act like these poor people, these native indigenous people or old-timey farm people, whatever, are somehow spiritually superior. Right. And then they get you to rally behind that for revolutionary purposes. Mm-hmm. And then so you get it's you can see it with race relations now. They exalt, black is a capital B, white isn't. Right. Yeah. And so you have this exaltation, which is totally manipulates people into this revolutionary fervor. And then, of course, in the end, it's not, the serfs aren't running the plantation.
It's right. It's straight out of the Bolshevik camp. That's what they.
But it's also true in the French Revolution.
Fair enough. Yeah. It didn't start with the Bolsheviks, but it's that same revolutionary spirit energy.
Yes. So, but it's just so, but I feel like that there is like it's the thing to do to exalt the serfs and the, for that reason. So you can like push on to them this wisdom, but it's kind of like Stephen Hawking, like he's the smartest guy on earth, but like, he's probably
is that real?
So you just put these words in their mouths after having, lionized them or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, these psyops, they start at the top of a mountain is kind of how I see it. And then as the avalanche goes down, people pick it up along the timeline. So how much is somebody having coffee in every scene? Are they involved in the original psyop? Maybe not, but that psyop started, and it's the same kind of thing with like that crazy film they came out with. It was nominated about the Mexican tranny, and it was like a musical. And have you seen that? You know what I'm talking about? It was like, oh, you got it. It got like the rating in Mexico is like a 1.3 on IMDb.
It's still and it was all the awards.
And you watch
Mexico is a Catholic country. Like it's just, of course, that's what makes it a target.
And it was so awful. I just want people to know you can love my films, hate my films. I'm always going to be on the side of human flourishing. Always.
And trying to deliver quality. So there's two things I wanted to, one little comment about what you were just saying, and then I want to ask you a bigger picture question.
Okay.
And that's it. So just my comment is like with the snowball, the avalanche thing, it is amazing. And I know you've marveled at this too, like how people, I call it manufacturing advocacy. It's not manufacturing consent. It's manufacturing advocacy. I mean, when I was
like
on radio, I have people call me. Yeah, do it. would have people call me insisting that Assad was a monster and we needed to like bomb Syria. This was in 2012. And I was like, what? Based on what? What are you talking about? What do you care? Should he come in and correct the record for Waco? Like, what are you talking about?
Have you lived in Syria? Have you been to Syria? Have you seen what's going on?
My grandmother was Syrian. I'm like, if the Syrians need saving, I'm totally like sympathetic, but they probably need saving from your bombs. But this was just a guy. It was just maybe it wasn't, but it sounded. I mean, I had a lot of callers like that, a lot. And so yeah, there's this advocacy and so I'm always looking for like there's a Fed under every rock in my book, but it's not, they're useful idiots, I guess is the expression. But I just it's amazing when and the benefit that they had, the way it happens, they really know their psyche. They really have their psychological levers that I don't think they share. I don't think they let all the psych studies in the textbooks, although some maybe they do. Maybe we're just not educated enough to see it. But yeah, so I see that. But I heard you say that you thought there would be a real, I don't know, I don't think you called it a civil war, but like an actual clash, 10 years from now, maybe.
Oh, I think my prediction, I have a $1 bet with Legal Man on this because he doesn't think I'm crazy.
Okay.
Like trading places. But
yeah, that's so sick.
Yeah. Remember that one?
Oh, yes, I do.
It destroy the guy's life. Where you go, more? Here's your dollar. But I think by early 2030s, the regime is going to unwind and we're going to have whatever that looks like. I don't know, but there's going to be secession. I don't know if it'll be like Mississippi officially withdraws from the union, but like I think that the mandate of the regime is already gone. Now it's just people are afraid and they're using force to keep people are scared of the unknown. They're also scared of the regime. And I think that there's a massive secession that's coming to this country. It's going to happen in the early 2030s.
But that you said you didn't know what it would look like made me think of just possibilities such as like I read the book Snow Crash. Which is like a science fiction thing about kind of little mini governments that were corporate. So like Disney is is a little mini, is a
Mhm.
county. Like you just, and it is. Disney is
Mhm.
actually.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that. And when I was younger, I was like, this is a great book. And some liberal friend was like, that's a dystopia. I was like, oh wow, okay. It looks cool to me. But so that's just like a different that type of decentralization. But there's also these technological, like the 2010 Rockefeller Foundation study on the future of technology. And this is how the futurists do it. I don't know if you've ever read this, like SPARS 2017. I don't think Event 201 was like this, but it has these axes where it like just puts things on it, like more technology, less technology, more unity, less unity, or like more
Okay.
government control, less. And then it predicts that it tells you how to manipulate the future depending on which quadrant we end up in. And
Okay.
yeah, and they have futuristic scenarios. These are real, like the Esalen Institute and stuff. Like it's crazy. And so there are scenarios that I have read that say like the government doesn't have power, it's highly decentralized, then the NGO rises. Like it feels like voluntary organizations have the power and the influence, or transportation is so you have this the government is less powerful, but then transportation is too dangerous, so there's no air travel anymore. So what happens is these little pockets, blah blah blah. So the idea, and we're throwing out worker immigrants, we're bringing manufacturing back, and we're enforcing tariffs. If those three things are really happening, it makes me think that you are kind of pulling the stuff back. Air travel is becoming dangerous.
Mhm.
That future revolutionary scenario, maybe something they're preparing for, could really happen. Maybe it's their way of cordoning off, put everybody in Florida and then just like let them secede. So I could see something big happening like that would not necessarily be like a, brother against brother nationwide civil war of taking up arms.
I don't see that happening either, but what you're kind of talking about is the dark side of that, where you could have like Muskville.
Yeah.
Like
And they're doing that. Yeah. They want to do it.
Already doing that. You're right. They're doing that down in I think there's some tech bros down like Honduras or something.
Yes. Funny enough.
Well, my thing is that there's no reason. First of all, you can't have one government for 360 million people. It's just ridiculous. And one of the greatest Barnum statements is bring the country together. That's a meaningless term. It's never going to happen. It doesn't make any sense. If you think that, when you talked about this earlier, if you think killing a baby is healthcare and the other person thinks killing a baby is infanticide, how are you bringing those two people together? Well, how you're bringing them together is, you know what I mean?
Yes, I heard you say that, and I've thought that too. This is one of the things I was like, I think exactly like that. And they had to, that was intentional. That's like a European style socialist, sectarian attitude that is not organic to the US, in my opinion. They brought that in. And so now we have this ridiculous, there's no reason for half the people to be opposite of the other half. That's just
right.
stupid.
And the people that want one thing always lose. So the people that want to kill a baby, the other people go, all right, well, as long as it's within 6 months. Okay, now we've lost. So now we're allowed to kill a baby. And of course, they never stop. They stop, and you tack right for a little while, and then you tack back left, and then they move the ball down the field a little bit, and you tack back left. Yeah. And now we're, this country, and people, there's a funny, Jay Dyer posted this funny video, this like Southern Baptist guy who had like a big wood cross. He's like, the Constitution was written by a higher power. And I tweeted, if the Constitution was written by a higher power, it'd work. And it's like, it's just this like fantasy.
Oh, right.
Yeah, if it was written by a higher power, it'd actually work. It's ridiculous.
Definitely.
I've heard you say this, that we lost our freedom in 1789. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
It wasn't 1865. It was 1789 when they brought in this Constitution and screwed everybody.
If the Constitution worked, then like Lysander Spooner, if it had worked, then we wouldn't have a government for 360 million people. It's like only has 18 mandated, it's only allowed to do 18 different things, the government. Right. So it's all unconstitutional anyway. But that's the thing is that, and then, the Civil War, the Department of Justice, the FBI, like all of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. They enforce the Constitution onto the states, but that's not in the Constitution. Not the Constitution. They enforce the federal government, the congressional law onto the states, which there's no enforcement mechanism in the Constitution for that. So it shouldn't have happened, but it was the Civil War that did it.
Well, the whole thing is driven also by the legal tender laws. So the whole thing is run on the Jones Plantation credits, which is just this fake money system. Without the fake money system,
that really hit home. As soon as they did that, it's like, but they can just print that money.
Yeah. He's like, well, they're going. He goes, it's just fancy paper. He goes, ain't fit enough to wipe your ass with. We thought that was funny when we wrote that. But I don't know where I was going. Well, there's no reason why Mississippi and California should have the same government. They're not countrymen. They're not countrymen.
It's all about free trade, and there was they restrict trade. I can't buy normal light bulbs here. I can't ship them over here. I can't ship faucets that have anything more than ant spit coming out of them. You can't buy health insurance across borders. The one thing that it was really meant to do, it doesn't do.
Right. Yeah. And the idea of, and this, that the Articles of Confederation, it was going to be, I think, with 13, there was going to be a bunch of different states that would try different governments, and we would see which government worked the best.
Or whatever. It doesn't matter. Who cares?
Whatever.
Good luck to you.
This is coming. I think California is going to break up. I think Jefferson has there's no business for them to be in the same government as LA.
Yeah.
Eastern, Western Oregon. I mean, it could split down. And
Texas actually can split into 5 states at will.
Now. Yeah. East Texas is a different place than Austin.
Yeah. And I think actually there was some language way back in the day of making Canada a state. I think there's a provision somewhere where Canada can become a state.
Oh God.
That's the worst. I know. Why would Trump want to do that? Let them vote. I mean, I love Canadians, but they're not less socialist than we are.
No. And then what about the Greenland thing? That was that whole technique. There's gonna be 5 or I don't know the details.
Somebody owns Greenland though. Doesn't Denmark own Greenland?
I think so.
I think so. Like nothing's not owned.
A technocrat breakup of the world, but there's going to be like 5.
Well, that's the thing. So that's possible that's where our civil war, our degeneration is, where they know that they can keep it together in a modular way behind the scenes, and that's the technocracy. But
could be.
I will not.
What we have now is not going to be. Okay, I'll let you go. But
I'm happy to talk, but I feel like we need espresso if we're going to keep going. So, but tell people how they can find your work. It wasn't easy to search. I searched for Jones Plantation on Amazon Prime, and it did not come up. I had to go to the IMDb and link to where it said where to watch, and I linked to it through there. Now, I mean, I could try again and see if I got it wrong, but I don't think so. I did it twice.
I'm surprised by that because
weird, right?
That is odd. It should have come right up.
Ask somebody who's never searched for it before to go into their Amazon account and search for it, and see if it works for someone who's never searched for it before.
That sucks. Well, the best place to go is to go to drewmedia.studio, and I have it set up like a link tree right now. So all the stuff, the Jones Plantation Barnum World's on there. And then I've got links to jonesplantationfilm.com, or it's on a bunch of platforms. It's not on Netflix, but it's on like Amazon, Tubi, Roku, all that stuff. So,
and what about your podcast?
Oh, and podcast is Maverick and the Machine. There's a link to that too. And then I've got a Substack. I hate giving up too many things. The easiest thing to do is just go to drewtv.studio.
Okay.
That's perfect. I've got a Substack, drewtv.substack.com, but everything's on my website, drewtv.studio.
Have you had Legal Man on your show?
Yeah.
Because you, just by coincidence, have a similar voice.
I do. Scratchy.
Something about it. I just want to hear you guys talk to each other because I think it'll be funny.
Yeah, I've had him on. He's going to actually be here on Saturday.
Physically?
Yeah.
In Arizona? Awesome.
Yeah. Fun. Yeah. Because we have to sign posters for the Barnum World merch. Awesome. So he's going to go up. He's just going to explore around northern Arizona. So he's going to stop.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I know he likes to walk without his shoes on. So I don't know if that's possible out there in the desert.
No, it's not really a very good idea. I mean, that's why I say grounding is really great. And it's like, it's really tough to ground out here. Yeah. So, I got him. I've got Corbett's on there. I've got Jason Christoff, who I talked about earlier. A bunch of people are on there. You're coming on. I'll have to get you
I'm
on.
going to check it out. Thank you. I would love to. Yeah. I'm eager
Awesome.
to listen to it. So yeah, I really enjoyed, all my research and watching the Jones Plantation and listening to your interviews. I knew that it's like Legal Man. You have to be just anybody who believes any of the bullshit. I just can't waste my time.
Yeah.
I'm not watching Tucker Carlson. I'm not. It's not real.
Yeah.
So that I knew that we would have a good combo. So anyway,
great.
thank you. Yes, that's super awesome. Drew Treglia. It is a pleasure to talk to you. And I'm going to ask you to just hang on. I'm going to thank everybody for coming. And I want to make sure you're uploaded. And talk to you soon. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, you too. Merry Christmas. Thanks for having me on. Big fan.